Welcome, everyone. I'm Councilman Nowakowski, and what we're going to do is we're going to start off with the little video, and after the videos, we'll have some questions and answers. All righty? So let's go ahead.
Ahora veamos el presupuesto propuesto para el periodo 2018-2019. El año pasado proyectamos un posible déficit presupuestario para el 2018-2019, más gastos que ingresos, por una suma de $60 millones. Gracias al fuerte liderazgo del alcalde y del consejo municipal, adoptamos medidas tempranas y ahora tenemos un presupuesto equilibrado. Esto fue lo que hicimos. El pasado septiembre, el Consejo Municipal votó para reducir los gastos generales. El Consejo también actuó conforme a una nueva ley estatal que nos permitía extender los pagos de nuestra pensión de seguridad pública más de 25 años en vez de 20 años. La ciudad también se mantuvo firme para controlar los gastos, lo que nos dio un saldo de fondos con un superávit para comenzar el año. Además, una economía saludable mantuvo los ingresos según lo planificado. Todo esto dio lugar a una proyección a 5 años que muestra un presupuesto en equilibrio. Ahora bien, el presupuesto de prueba comienza básicamente con la misma cantidad del año pasado, con la continuación de nuestros servicios esenciales. En el Fondo General y los fondos de ingresos exclusivos se incluye la contratación de bomberos y oficiales de policía, la entrega de fondos para parques, calles, tránsito, bibliotecas, centros para adultos mayores, servicios para jóvenes, arte y cultura y servicios de vecindarios. También contamos con fondos para reemplazar los vehículos viejos, especialmente las patrullas y el equipo contra incendios, reparar edificios e instalaciones y mantener nuestros sistemas informáticos actualizados. Además, con parte de los ahorros del año pasado, creamos un fondo de reserva de pensiones para policías y bomberos para ayudar a pagar cualquier modificación futura en los costos de sus pensiones. Después de hacer todo esto, el fondo general de $1.3 mil millones quedó un excedente de $2.9 millones para asignar a los servicios comunitarios. Asimismo, en los otros fondos hay un excedente similar de $2.7 millones. ¿Qué significa todo esto? Recorramos cada área. Primero, el Fondo General. La seguridad pública tiene la máxima prioridad en nuestro presupuesto, dado que más del 70% de nuestro Fondo General se destina a la policía, bomberos, fiscales, el sistema judicial y la gestión de emergencias. En el presupuesto de prueba, la propuesta es: mediante la reasignación de los fondos presupuestados existentes, el Departamento de Policía pondrá más recursos en la unidad de registros públicos para acelerar el procesamiento de las más de 77,000 solicitudes de registros que recibe cada año. El departamento también añadirá 5 nuevos puestos en el Centro de Inteligencia contra Delitos con Armas para encontrar más eficazmente y aprender a delincuentes violentos que posean armas. La adición de 8 nuevos puestos de protección contra incendios para apoyar el programa de inspecciones de edificios de la ciudad y garantizar que los inmuebles en toda la ciudad cumplan con las leyes y normas de seguridad contra incendios. Además, contamos con el presupuesto para seguir contratando bomberos y oficiales de policía. El presupuesto también prevé la creación del puesto de oficial de turno en la Oficina de Seguridad Nacional para coordinar las respuestas de la ciudad ante incidentes de seguridad, emergencias y eventos importantes. La reducción de los impactos de la falta de vivienda en Phoenix es una prioridad. Con un incremento de casi el 60% de las personas sin hogar y sin refugio, el objetivo de la ciudad es liderar con los servicios al poner en contacto a las personas sin hogar con los servicios apropiados y, a la vez, reducir el impacto en los vecindarios de Phoenix. La iniciativa PHX Cares, Servicios de Relacionamiento y Respuesta de Acción Comunitaria, atendió más de 1,000 llamadas de ayuda y relacionamiento durante los primeros 3 meses. Como parte de la nueva iniciativa PHX Cares, el presupuesto propuesto prevé adiciones en las áreas de servicios humanos, servicios de vecindarios y parques y recreación, incluida la adición de 2 equipos más contratados para ayudar a personas sin hogar, para así aumentar la capacidad de manejo de casos y llevarla a 360 clientes al año y liderar con los servicios. Parques y Recreación añadirá 2 puestos de guardaparques para brindar ayuda directa a las personas que necesitan servicios en el sistema de parques urbanos de la ciudad. Con esto, la cantidad total de guardaparques ascenderá a 79. Con la adición de 2 puestos para coordinar las divisiones de servicios al cliente, mejorar los tiempos de respuesta y garantizar la coordinación de esfuerzos de parte de todos los departamentos municipales para atender las violaciones al código resultantes de los campamentos. Phoenix continúa con su inversión en la habitabilidad de los vecindarios en el presupuesto propuesto de este año. Con estas adiciones propuestas, añadir 5 empleados de cumplimiento en el Departamento de Servicios a los Vecindarios para un nuevo programa de licencia de viviendas para una vida en sobriedad. La finalidad de este programa es mejorar la salud, la seguridad y el bienestar de los residentes de viviendas estructuradas para una vida en sobriedad y la comunidad aledaña al establecer normas y reglamentos para las viviendas y sus operadores. Como parte de la administración del programa, el departamento del secretario municipal también añadirá 2 empleados encargados de llevar registros para procesar y supervisar las solicitudes, financiados con las tarifas de las licencias. El aumento de los espacios con sombra y el reemplazo de árboles en toda la ciudad, con $450,000 para plantar 750 árboles anualmente y regarlos y mantenerlos para que crezcan sanos. Esto es parte del plan maestro de sombra de la ciudad. Además, se propuso que la Oficina de Arte y Cultura reciba fondos adicionales de $30,000 para aumentar los subsidios para las organizaciones de arte y cultura de Phoenix para que vuelvan a los niveles que tenían antes de la recesión. También hay fondos para un gerente de proyectos que tendrá a su cargo la tarea de desarrollar un centro cultural latino en la ciudad de Phoenix. En cuanto a nuestras bibliotecas, se continuará restaurando el horario de atención para la comunidad. Con esta propuesta, el horario de atención de los domingos será permanente en 4 bibliotecas: Yucca, Century, Harmon y Ocotillo, por un costo de $295,000. Por último, el presupuesto prevé fondos para ayudar con la difusión para el censo del 2020. Esto incluye $150,000 para mejorar los esfuerzos de difusión de la ciudad de Phoenix, para garantizar que todos los residentes participen y sean contabilizados, así como la disponibilidad del personal necesario para supervisar la participación de la ciudad en el conteo del censo. Ahora bien, en cuanto a la porción de fondos no generales, recuerde, estos fondos provienen de tarifas y cargos exclusivos que se cobran a los clientes, como las tarifas de desarrollo de las empresas que deben pagar por sus servicios relacionados con la construcción que brinda la ciudad. El Departamento de Planificación y Desarrollo usará este ingreso para añadir 18 puestos para manejar todo desde la revisión de planos e inspecciones en obra hasta el mapeo y la planificación a largo plazo y el personal de atención al público para brindar asistencia al servicio de atención al público. Asimismo, el Departamento de Transporte Público usará los fondos de ingresos especiales para añadir 30 puestos a un costo de $859,000 a fin de mejorar nuestras calles, respaldar el mantenimiento del pavimento y las mejoras del tránsito, así como electricistas de semáforos, desarrollo y mantenimiento de la infraestructura peatonal y para bicicletas relacionada con el plan de transporte para el año 2050, y empleados para supervisar el plan de pavimentación de la ciudad, el barrido de calles y la correcta implementación de proyectos obligatorios conforme a la ley para estadounidenses con discapacidades. Todas juntas, estas cantidades hacen más que describir el trabajo que realizarán nuestros departamentos municipales el próximo año. Contarán con la historia del crecimiento continuo de Phoenix hasta convertirse en la 5ª ciudad más importante del país, con una economía diversa y próspera y una comunidad que está en demanda como un excelente lugar para vivir, trabajar y divertirse. Gracias por tomarse el tiempo para informarse sobre el presupuesto de prueba 2018-2019. Y no lo olvide, el presupuesto de este año aún no se ha adoptado. Su aporte es importante y la ciudad de Phoenix quiere saber qué opina sobre cómo debería verse el próximo presupuesto. Asegúrese de recoger un folleto del presupuesto. En él se detallan todas las propuestas y opciones. En cualquiera de las asambleas públicas o en línea en phoenix.gov/budget puede enviar sus comentarios o preguntas a budget.research@phoenix.gov o bien puede comunicarse con nosotros vía telefónica al 602-262-4800. También puede hacer comentarios en las redes sociales con el hashtag PhoenixBudget. Gracias por su participación en este proceso importante.
Alrighty, well, welcome everyone. I think Councilman Valenzuela is around. Danny, I seen him walk in just a little while ago. So this area is actually represented by 3 different council members. We have Danny Valenzuela, and we have Laura Pastor. Danny's here, he'll be coming in a minute, but we have Maria from Laura's office, if you could please stand up. Or we have Laura walking in right now. So we have Maria that works for Laura's office, and the council member coming in right now. Pero quiero dar los bienvenidos a cada uno de ustedes para venir a este junta para hablar de las necesidades que tenemos en la ciudad de Phoenix. Y creo que es algo muy importante de hablar de las necesidades que hay en nuestra comunidad. Por eso estamos aquí para escucharlos, ¿no? Y para pasar más información, le voy a pasar a la señorita Ana.
Buenas tardes y bienvenidos. Si hay alguien que necesite interpretación al español, si por favor puede venir conmigo para darles una unidad de audífonos y receptor. Gracias.
Already, she basically said if anybody needed translation into from English into Spanish, that there's some headsets here or at the entrance that they can actually wear it. And also, if you like to speak in Spanish, then she'll translate it into English. Si quieren venir y hablar en español, aquí tenemos una persona que va a cambiarlo a inglés, a translate it a inglés. And I'll pass it to the other representative of Maryvale, Councilmember Pastor.
Good evening. I hope you saw your video. I'm just eager to get started with the comment cards and hear the dialogue that we would like to have, or I would like to have with everybody on what would you like to see in the budget. So good evening. You guys don't look happy. Can I see a smile? Thank you.
This is a great crowd. Thank you so much for coming. So we've had, how many now, Ed? How many budget hearings have we had so far? The 10th of 15. And I personally have been involved in 4 now. And Councilman, you and I have one. We always do one every year in District 4, specifically for our youth. I'm looking forward to that one. But so there are 15 total in the city of Phoenix. It's always very important to me personally, but to all of us, to make sure that we have as many of these budget hearings in West Phoenix as possible. So like I said, this is the 4th so far that I've been personally involved in West Phoenix, and we have a 5th one coming up soon at MetroCheck. So that's a good one. These are recorded. They're going to be on YouTube. We all realize, I realize that there are a lot of people that could not be here tonight because they're taking care of their children, they're at work, they're at school. So I want to commend all of you for coming out to advocate on behalf of yourself, your family, your neighbors, and our city. So thank you in advance. This is the, how many years now? Several years. I know we started doing these bilingual budget hearings. So this is the citywide bilingual budget hearing. Yeah, 09? So this is important obviously for the city, but I will tell you, as the representative of District 5, we've actually had translators for several languages in this very room for meetings. That's important to all of us. So in this budget, I think you will see highlights for public safety. You'll see highlights for how we're going to create more jobs, infrastructure, education, and this is called a trial budget for a reason. So this is a process where you're eventually going to be voting on this. You will see, I'm confident, you will see that the actual budget that is voted on is going to look a little bit different than the one that's being proposed, and it's because your fingerprints should be on it. So again, thank you so much for advocating tonight, and God bless. And I quickly want to just acknowledge Ed Zerker, our city manager for the city of Phoenix. We're all fortunate to have Ed. He's no stranger to District 5 or any of the 8 districts, so we're fortunate to have Ed. And so many of our city staff is here as well, so thank you for spending the evening with all of us. There are several comment cards in the sake of fairness, and we want to be sure that everyone is heard. I think what we've been doing citywide as well, we've been doing a two-minute allotted amount of time for each time card. And again, because we have several and we want to be sure everyone is heard, so that's the reason for that. So I'll go ahead and get things started. She's translating as we're, all of this is being translated as we go because we have headsets.
Okay, got it.
Okay. So the first speaker is Haley Ritter. Welcome, Haley.
I've come out to a lot of transportation and infrastructure subcommittee meetings emphasizing the importance of bicycle infrastructure in this city. We're way behind a lot of the bigger cities in the world and in the country who have implemented safe ways to travel for those of us that travel by bicycle and don't drive vehicles. I'm severely epileptic, so I don't drive a motorized vehicle. It's very dangerous. I could kill myself or somebody else, and I really don't want to do that. Plus, I don't want to pay for gasoline. This is a really, really expensive way to travel, and I've been traveling by bicycle for 25 years, totally comfortably, and using public transportation. But unfortunately, there's a lot of streets that need bicycle lanes. Some of our streets look like freeways. I grew up in Chicago, and I'm in huge support of the street marking and striping improvement of $145,000, item number 6 under the Street Transportation Department. I'm in huge support of the transportation and drainage design and construction, which includes plans that we designed. I represented District 4 in redesigning the entire bicycle master plan for the whole valley. And we came up with a tiered system of ways in which we can implement these and actually start painting these bike lanes on the streets. Unfortunately, I haven't seen much of it happen yet, and that was almost 10 years ago. So I'd like to see the T2050 bike program initiatives get rolling and start seeing some of those improvements and see the bicycle master plan implementation come to fruition, because we worked really hard. I worked really hard with Councilmember Valenzuela, and I live in District 4 because I was working in District 5 at the time at the Phoenix Day School for the Deaf. I'm an ASL interpreter for the deaf community, and I travel all over the valley serving the deaf community, and I need a safe and comfortable way to travel on these streets without drivers being crazily driving. So I really hope that you guys implement these improvements to the street marking and striping and the transportation drainage design and construction. Bicycle master plan initiatives, do it. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Haley. Yeah, this is a round of applause. Craig Tripkin, former City of Phoenix council member, welcome.
Okay, can you hear me? Okay, good. You've all heard covered what I've had to say too many times by now, probably. But let me just tell you a little bit quickly about the crisis and set the table. Unsheltered homeless people are up in this community, in this valley, by about, it's tripled in the last 6 years. I want to talk to you, I want to tell you that case management and shelter works. And it's going to be more and more important as we go, because various housing programs have helped to get people off the street. We are going to increasingly see the most problematic and the most difficult to serve people. That's just plain and fact. Case management will reduce, we have 80% known positive outcomes with our case management program. And what I can tell you is that case management will reduce length of stay. It will free up beds at the shelter. That will help make the outreach program more successful. It is a successful model, and it does work. There is talk of expansion on the campus, and I just want to address that very briefly. CAS will not support expansion unless we have the appropriate case management to go along with that. Unless we are right now running at 47-1. National standards are 30-1. Unless we have the appropriate infrastructure to handle the people, we're not going to just be a dormitory. That's not what we do. Shelter plus housing works, or shelter plus case management works. It gets people into housing. And I'm under 2 minutes. I'll leave you right there. Thank you.
So, Craig, as stated at the previous budget hearing that we spoke of, I was at, I'm advocating for HOT outreach teams, which is homeless outreach teams that has case management along with behavioral health, along with police, along with LARC, all the different entities that can do wraparound services at a touch point. What I learned today was in order to do this, we need the whole, I call it a collective impact, but my understanding is that MAG has a whole piece that they have all the nonprofits sitting at the table. And so I guess what I want to say after learning about that, I'm going to attend one of the meetings to see collectively how they participate.
If I could just quickly say that people's prospects are improved. They are more successful in housing if they go to shelter. Shelter acts as kind of a breathing space for a person, kind of an emotional detox, if you will, because anybody living on the street for a chronic period of time has some sort of PTSD and needs that kind of breathing room before they get into housing and successful.
Thank you, sir. And there goes the rest of that 2 minutes, Councilman. It's worth it. Tim Bayardi.
Good afternoon. Phoenix today is the 5th largest city in the U.S., and being part of a big city, means facing big city issues. We are under attack by the criminal element who prey on families in the city. Hardly a week goes by that you don't read another headline about an officer-involved shooting. Criminals today are better armed and more willing to shoot at police officers than at any other time in my 22 years on the job. Every day, our Phoenix police are fighting a war against these criminals. Sadly, we continue to be short-staffed and we continue to have trouble filling out squads and staffing our precincts. How bad is it? As you sit here today, there are no more than 3 police officers patrolling the entire community of Awatuki. There is no more than 3 cops serving 80,000 people. We are also critically short-staffed right here in Maryvale, a community that continues to suffer from some of the most serious crimes in Phoenix. Why are we spending dollars on police overtime and sending out patrol units without sufficient backup? Because the city of Phoenix doesn't have enough cops. That's the simple answer. Over the last 12 months, 239 police officers have graduated from the academy. At the same time, 137 experienced officers left the PD. That means that the department added 102 officers over the past year. That's about 8 new cops per month. That's not enough, especially when you factor in promotions and assignments to specialty units. The truth, today the Phoenix Police Department has the same number of sworn officers as it does in 2008. The city has added population, added businesses, downtown Phoenix is growing, but we're still policing like we did 10 years ago. Recently, our association surveyed more than 1,000 Phoenix police officers. 93% of them told us that they believe the manpower levels in our department are not sufficient enough to effectively fight crime. I recognize that our city has big challenges. We have limited budget resources and lots of needs and wants. There's a competition for every available dollar. That's why I'm here tonight. I want to say loud and clear that we do not have the budget resources we need to keep this city safe. We don't have enough police officers to win the fight against crime. Thank you.
Thanks for your service, Tim. Jeff Benedict.
Good evening. I'm Jeff Benedict, president of the Friends of Palo Verde, here representing our Friends group. And our request, our mantra is short and sweet. I'll sit here and chant for a couple minutes if I can. Every library, every day. No Friday closures, Sunday, Monday, when every library will be open every day. That's it. Thank you very much, folks.
All right, thank you. Ron Van Mierlo. Hope I got that.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of the Phoenix Fire Department. I'm a 11-year veteran of the Phoenix Fire Department working in South Phoenix. Basically, we're in a similar situation as PD. We're facing a staffing model that has not kept up with the increase in population. We took several measures over the last 10 years with budget cuts to continue staffing our fire trucks and making sure that we provide for the citizens of Phoenix, and those staffing models have not kept up with the growth that we're experiencing at this time. Currently, the fire department is looking to fund an additional 138 members so that we can better staff our fire trucks, reduce our response time. Hoping to put in an extra 5 fire trucks and additional specialties to provide for the citizens of Phoenix, reduce our response time to make sure that we're staying within national standards. Right now, we're looking at the fact that in the last 7 years, we've increased our call volume by over 50,000 calls. One of our busiest fire trucks right now is running over 5,400 emergencies per last year, which is averaging over 15 calls per shift. This is causing a decrease in services available to the surrounding citizens due to the fact that they're having increased response times from farther away stations. So we're looking for the city council to be able to look for long-term solutions and find a way to fund for better public safety through the 138 positions. Thank you.
Thanks for your service, Ron. Ash Us.
Hello folks, my name is Ash. I am here from Andre House of Arizona. I work directly with people who are experiencing homelessness and poverty. I'm here today because I've seen the budget proposal and I really just want to advocate not only for my cause and for the work that we do at Andre House, but for everyone here, that the investment in supporting people who are homeless, especially those who are chronically homeless, is a decision that affects everybody in a positive way. So my thesis was on the pros and cons of the Housing First model, and specifically how Housing First can reduce healthcare costs on the city level. I've also studied the collaborative initiative to end chronic homelessness, which Laura, you had mentioned earlier, collaboration. So just to share a little bit of data with you, in 2003, several of our federal departments worked together to award money to 11 communities, and they provided exactly what Craig was saying, housing included with wraparound services. So of the 734 clients in these 11 cities, after a 12-month period, 91% of them remain housed. So what that means is that each person here who is speaking for their cause, 91% of the people that we would have to be spending money on no longer need those resources. So we can get all of the help that we need. The fire department can get the employees that they so eagerly and necessarily need. Our police departments can be well equipped, well staffed. Additionally, with Housing First, in a study by an individual who's a very prominent social scientist, his name is Greenberg, just to talk a little bit about this, monthly costs were $195.93 on average. After 1 year of people being housed and provided mental health support, those costs dropped to only $28.98. So while you're here fighting for what you need, think about that money right there, $195 to $28. If we make this investment now, next year we can talk about a surplus that's double what we have now. So please, please, the Phoenix Cares Initiative is doing great work, but they're not doing a whole lot to help the people on 11th and Jackson. The disabled guests that we have to shower and bathe multiple times a day, the people that we have to drive to their appointments. Please, please support our guests, because they're wonderful people, they are not criminals, they are not all addicts, and they are not all mentally ill. Thank you. Have a good day.
Thank you. Ana Chavez.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Ana Cristina Chávez y trabajo para Untitled House, una organización sin ánimo de lucro que se enfoca en dar servicios de hospitalidad a personas viviendo en alta pobreza y sin albergue. Estamos ubicados en la 11ª Avenida y Jackson, justo en medio. Estamos ubicados en la 11ª Avenida y Jackson, justo en medio de las áreas del área geográfica comprendida entre la 9ª y 5ª Avenida, designada como la zona.
Good evening. My name is Ana Cristina Chavez, and I work for Untitled House. It is an organization, non-profit organization, that focuses on providing hospitality for people who are living in high poverty and without shelter. We are located between the 11th Avenue and Jackson, just between 9th and 15th Avenue, designated as the zone.
Es la zona con la concentración más alta de personas sin albergue, incluyendo esas personas viviendo con una alta discapacidad mental, que les imposibilita para cuidarse y tomar decisiones por sí mismos.
It is the zone with the highest concentration of people who are without shelter, including people who are living with disability, mental disability, and which makes it impossible for them to care for themselves and to make their own decisions.
Estos son los humanos más vulnerables, por lo tanto es imperativo que la ciudad les proporcione el apoyo efectivo que necesitan para sobrevivir.
These are the most vulnerable humans, so it is imperative that the city provide the support that they need in order to survive.
Para las 500 personas que no pueden entrar a CAS, hay una organización, St. Vincent de Paul, que les da albergue a 250 de esas personas. Pero ese albergue va a cerrar en una semana y cuando llegue a ser septiembre ya va a haber 250 personas más en la calle. Y por ahora no hemos escuchado alternativas dadas por la ciudad de Phoenix.
For the 500 people that are not able to get into CAS, there is an organization, St. Vincent de Paul, that provides shelter to 250 people. However, that shelter will be closing within a week. And for now, we have not heard any alternative options given by the city of Phoenix.
This is not, in our opinion, around Drake House. This isn't an issue that is about money and which department should get more resources. For us, but we see this every day. This is for us at our core is a human rights, human dignity issue. There is not a single human being who should live in the conditions that they are living in right now. Please, I invite everyone here to go down to Andre House and see the conditions that these human beings live in, so you can see for yourselves. I know the word homeless carries a very, very strong stigma with it, but that is not the case. Please go down there and see it for yourselves. Thank you.
So I would say the City of Phoenix isn't the sole purpose that is handling the homeless issue. We are probably leading in the homeless issue, and what I'm asking the audience to do for the future is we need Maricopa County to step up and also provide more funding to this issue. We also need some of the other REBAs. It's larger than just us in combating and handling the homeless/transient population, and we need a collective group to really push this through. And we are doing, with all the resources that we have, the best that we can at this point. And I'm asking the community now to start pushing the county to really try to help address this issue together.
Thanks, Councilwoman Pastor. Ramon Gonzalez.
Hello, good evening. My name is Ramon Gonzalez. I live here in Maryvale, and I'm also a firefighter here in the City of Phoenix. I'm here to basically ask for more resources for the Phoenix Fire Department. I'm concerned for the community. I live here in Maryvale, and I work in South Phoenix. We need more resources. We need more firefighters, just like Ron said earlier. We need 138 firefighters, and that's not a number that came out of nowhere that we just made up. There's a standard, a national standard of 1 firefighter per 1,000 residents, which equates, and here in the City of Phoenix, we're 138 firefighters short. I just would like to ask the council to take more consideration in helping us with more resources. We do need more fire stations. We need more fire trucks. We do need more firefighters. And we would like that for that support. There's an increase in the population, which equates to more calls for us. And then when our trucks get busy, we got to have to call people from nearby stations, which it depletes their resources. So that's what I would like to ask for more resources from the fire department. Buenas noches, me llamo Ramón González. Aquí vivo yo aquí en Maryvale. Soy bombero para la ciudad de Phoenix y solamente quería poner en atención que necesitamos más bomberos, necesitamos más estaciones, necesitamos más dinero para ayudar a los bomberos porque estamos 138 bomberos que no tenemos y necesitamos para ayudar más a la comunidad. Y muchas gracias por su tiempo. Thank you very much.
Thank you for your service, Ramon. Ramon Aquino.
Hi, my name is Ramon Aquino, and I'm a concerned community member. And I wanted to talk about the police budget. And I honestly think that that's not the way to go. You know, the $500,000 that they're proposing for the police, what we need to find is solutions. And by having more police, having more funding for police, that's not going to make us safer. It's not going to make the community safer. What we need is we need solutions, which would be like creating community programs. You know, putting kids into, you know, at early ages, trying to help them out. You know, mental health. That's what we really need. We don't need to get more police. 14 people have already been shot this year just with police, and they said it's projected to be double of last year's. So you want to hire more police so they can end up killing us on the streets. Basically, that's what's happening. What really needs to happen is they need to really train these police to de-escalation training. Because when they pull you over, most of the time, they incite things that you see happening around the streets, and part of that is that also too is that we also need to fund the teachers. You can hear their outcries all over the news. They're over there protesting, asking for funds. And where are they on here? They're nowhere on here. Who put these items on this agenda? Not the community did. So we need more resources for the teachers so they can be able to teach properly and prevent these things from happening, from the beginning. That's really a solution. If you want to ignore it, then you can keep on funding police and thinking that more police and over-policing is the solution. But in reality, we need these resources. Also what's proposed to one of the demands is we need a legal defense fund for immigrants pushed to ICE custody from Phoenix PD. Also too, a demand number 2, a compensation fund for the community impacted by police violence. For resources of the council. We need anti-bullying programs. We need after-school programs. We need more community centers. They tried to shut this community center down the last time I came to a council meeting. This is the only community center around the area. And I think about my community center at Golden Gate Community Center. If it wasn't for that community center that gave me those resources, would I be here, advocating for people? We have to think about those things and how community centers, how programs affect people. And we have to get them early on in an early age. I propose that, that our lack of investment in the community is raising up these crime rates. So we need to invest more into our community. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Aquino. All great points. I just have to point out, teachers are not in the City of Phoenix local budget. That's a state budget. But the sentiment is loud and clear. All great points. I happen to have 4 family members that are public school teachers, and I'm with you on that. Paris Wallace.
Hi, I'm Paris Wallace. I am a mother and a community member. And looking at the budget, I'm noticing that there is $510,000 allotted to the police budget. I really feel like maybe divesting from the police budget and investing into communities is really what needs to happen. Maybe considering creating a legal defense fund for immigrants pushed to ICE custody by PPD. Phoenix PD has literally been separating families, black families included. Through criminalization and partnership with ICE and MCSO. I'm also wondering why there isn't a compensation fund for the communities impacted by police violence. The PPD has a fund for themselves, so why can't the community have one? We're looking for resources for counseling, trauma support, and therapy, because after being accosted by a police officer, you need that kind of healing, right? It's very traumatizing to be walked up on by a cop. Bill Montgomery actually established a Maricopa County Victim Fund. So if Maricopa County can do it, why can't Phoenix? Why can't we do it? And I recognize that PPD has been under a hiring freeze for 6 years, but that still does not excuse the fact that we are allotting more money for that department. And that's really what I'm here for. I'm asking for those 2 things. Thank you.
Maria Sanchez.
Hello, my name is Maria. At the age of 16, I was separated by my family and was left homeless because of these laws that allows the cops to work with immigration. So I'm here to demand for some legal funds for defense for immigrants that are pushed towards ICE custody from the Phoenix Police Department. I can't believe they're still working with them in the first place. But once our families are pushed to those custodies, there needs to be someone there to also defend them. And it's not okay for you to have that much money for police officers, because I myself, I do not feel safe when I see a police officer. It's never represented safety for me. So we need to also talk about that. Another thing that we need to talk about is how much violence there's been in our community with the police shootings. We're the second deadliest for police officer shootings here in Phoenix, and it's very scary for people of color like myself to know that there's that many shootings going on. So what happens? I want to know what happens when those reporters leave those houses, talking to the mom, talking to those families that were shot down. Once all those reporters leave, who's helping these families get through this trauma? There needs to be someone there to help them for counseling, and I don't see any of that in the budget. So I'm here for those people that are, like myself, are scared whenever I see a police officer, and we need counseling for that stuff.
Mari Herrera.
And then the next one up will be Ron Cerny.
Good evening, my name is Mari Herrera, and I work with Phoenix Revitalization Corporation, which is a nonprofit that works in neighborhoods to revitalize neighborhoods and work in residents for resident leadership capacity. Our focus is in the Central City South area as well as the Canyon Corridor area. And so the question that I have tonight actually is for Councilman Valenzuela, because at the Pendergast hearing, you support the $300,000 that's being allocated to homeless outreach services. So is it true that the city is currently in a 5-year contract for $2.5 million already for this program? Is that true?
Yes.
So the city wants to allocate an additional $300,000 to this program?
According to the trial budget, yes, and I will be on record now and saying that if we can get more to put more towards homelessness, Mrs. Herrera, I will be there for that too.
Okay, but this program just started last year, correct? Do you have any data? Is there any proof that's providing that it's a success so far before we throw more money at this program?
Well, when we created the program, there was a need for this service. Do we have data? It's a little early for data, but what I will tell you is this is a major social issue in our city, throughout our city. It's homelessness. And so in working with our business leaders, foundation leaders, coming together, working with all the city departments, figuring something else out. I think Phoenix Cares is a result, and we said this, it would be early, but it's the result of everyone realizing there's a major issue in our community. I personally think it's way too soon to give up on a program, especially when we have such a need in our community.
Right, but we've allocated $2.5 million. Shouldn't we wait to see what the success is after the 5 years before funding more?
I think what we need to figure out is this problem, the homeless issue, is it getting smaller or is it getting bigger?
Okay, but throwing more money, well, here's what PRC supports. PRC supports, rather than allocating additional funds to a contract that's already in existing, $2.5 million, what about the residents that are impacted by transients and homeless? What about sending that money, that $300,000, for additional park rangers to help enforcement in the parks? Or neighborhood services for community staff to go out and engage and educate residents, additional community action officers, because yes, this is an issue, however, it's impacting the neighborhoods and residents. We're forgetting about the residents and the neighborhoods. So since you already have a contract for 5 years, and PRC recommends wait till the 5 years is over, reassess, was it a success, and then consider giving more money. But to throw good money after bad right now when there's no proven statistics, I would say that's a mistake.
Thank you, Ms. Rivera. Yes.
So Marty, let me explain, because I've worked very closely with Phoenix Cares and in this process and really helping understanding. This came in a very organic way in the sense that the community came to us. We had several meetings or meetings with community throughout everyone's district, and Phoenix Cares came about in the sense of coordinating with all our different departments, now coordinating as one in order to help a number of issues that were happening in the neighborhoods, because this came out of the neighborhoods and the neighbors. The additional 300, which I am an advocate of, is to bring more teams into our community to assist with the homelessness and the transient population that is affecting the neighborhoods. And as I stated earlier to Craig, is what I'm really looking at as looking at, they were called hot teams, homeless outreach teams. I'm really looking broader now into a bigger concept in order to make a bigger impact within our neighborhoods and our communities. So that's why there's additional 300,000. It's to create more teams for the impact of the community. Why don't you come visit me and I'll give it to you.
Thank you for speaking up, Mrs. Herrera. Thank you. And thank you, and I want to thank PRC for everything you do in the community as well. It's certainly valued. I appreciate it. We all appreciate it. Ron Cerny, followed by Nia Buckley.
So my name is Ron Cerny. I'm actually running for Central Arizona Water Conservation District this year. Unlike most people here today, I'm not placating to receive money for any particular organization. Instead, I'm here to I'm interested in expanding our ability to fund these projects ourselves. Currently, we have too many laws and regulations, statutes on the books and bogging down law enforcement. Essentially, you have law enforcement with the largest expenditure, yet critically short because their task lists are too long. They should mostly be focusing on crimes with victims, rapes, murders, and thefts, which would help reduce the incidence of negative law enforcement altercations and reduce a lot of the PTSD that people end up having with law enforcement through having less interactions. Also, my first question to you guys would be, what is the percentage of the budget funded by civil asset forfeiture, which is the actual citations, fines, and fees levied on individuals for committing crimes? I've heard that actually when civil asset forfeiture is brought up during budget meetings, that it's usually just mentioned briefly of what the number is and then kind of whisked away to the back burner. My second question is, what effect on education would passing the Safer Arizona Legalization Act have with actually funding that, since that's a big concern with most people, unless that's a state issue?
It's a state issue, sir.
That's fine. And lastly, what's stopping us from currently utilizing the technology available to us to fund a lot of these programs through a, say, GoFundMe style asset? That way we can effectively make our own voice equal to our money and allow individuals to put our money where our support is.
If you're asking about public-private partnerships,
For like technology, like we can utilize technology to effectively have a GoFundMe style for each organization, and then have us kind of fund it ourselves almost.
are we
Stopping us from doing that?
Are you talking about GoFundMe style for each nonprofit that is coming to work with? Well, each nonprofit, as far as I understand, they all do their own fundraising. The city of Phoenix has CDBG grants that they can apply for, if that's what you're asking.
Kinda. I mean, it would be nice if the organizations had a more set, I guess, way to actually utilize that. If there is anything, if you guys are having issues trying to raise the money, then why not kind of reach out? You know, you have Facebook available. I know the whole Zuckerberg thing.
We do the best we can.
Yeah.
But this is what this is about. These are tax dollars that we are now allocating to each of these programs.
Yes.
So we raised the money, and so now we have to put first responders on the street.
On page 3, the largest one is the law enforcement, and if you had less laws to enforce and more regulations that weren't necessary, taken off the books, one of those
I
things.
appreciate your
Yes.
point, sir.
So if anybody wants to sign the Safer Arizona Legalization
Sir,
Act,
we really
or
can't
anything like
campaign in
that,
here. It's
That's not a campaign, that's a citizens initiative.
oh, okay. Well, thank you for speaking, Mrs. Sterling.
You're welcome.
All right, Nia Buckley, followed by Jorge Valdez.
Thank you for having this budget meeting tonight. I am a mother and just a concerned citizen of Phoenix. I am here to demand that the city of Phoenix create a legal defense fund for immigrants pushed out by ICE, and also a compensation fund for people impacted by police violence. I am a behavioral health major, and something that if you're going to add this funding to help cops and stuff, then we need to look at hiring social workers or behavioral health workers within the police department to help minimize the killings of people that live with mental illness, because these are human beings and they are being criminalized for having PTSD or schizophrenia, and we need to take care of them and not murder them because we're afraid of them. And then we need to hire cultural competent cops in communities. So when we go into black and brown neighborhoods, we shouldn't be seeing white people from Scottsdale that have never interacted with black or Latinos. We should, if we're going to do that, then we need to help those people who do work in our neighborhoods to learn cultural competency and who they are. They need to go out in the community and learn who they are supposed to be protecting and not killing. And that's it. Thank you.
Jorge Valdez, followed by Ruby Silva.
Good afternoon. My name is Jorge Valdez. I'm here on behalf of the Phoenix Fire Department, and not just for the fire department, but for the citizens of Phoenix. The homeless, the employed, illegal immigrants, moms, dads, brothers, sisters, everybody, right? So we're asking the City Council that makes public safety a top priority. The current model that we have is outdated, and leaves our community underserved. Make this for taller people.
There you go.
The model that we currently have is outdated, leaves the community underserved. The long-term collateral impact of these measures will leave us ill-prepared to protect the city, leaving our citizens and our firefighters at risk. In the past 7 years, our call volume has increased by 50,000 calls. So again, we're here for everybody, just to serve the community better. We're just asking for 138 positions just so that we can better serve our community. Again, there's no personal benefit, just benefit of the people.
Muy buenas tardes, me llamo Jorge Valdez, estoy aquí representando el Departamento de Phoenix de Bomberos para la ciudad de Phoenix. He estado ayudando a la comunidad por los últimos 10 años y estamos pidiendo su apoyo para poder ayudar a la gente de la ciudad, que sean legales, ilegales, mamás, papás, hermanos, vecinos, lo que sea. Pero estamos aquí para ayudar a la gente y estamos pidiendo por su apoyo. Thank you.
Thank you for your service, Jorge.
As a young Latina teen to demand that the city of Phoenix create a legal defense fund for immigrants who have been pushed to ICE custody by the Phoenix PD. I also demand that a compensation fund for the communities who have been impacted by police violence, for resources to go to counseling, trauma, support, therapy that's needed after these tragic events happen. It is time to take charge. It is time to bring attention to these situations. Thank you.
Thank you, Ruby. Juan Echavarria. And followed by Yasmin Sagastume. Oh,
Sorry. So I'm here for the same reason she came, to for the city of Phoenix to legalize a defense fund for immigrants. We live next, Mexico's next to us, so we should expect a lot of immigrants here. And so it's just hold on. Yeah, many families have been separated, not just Mexican families, not it's other races as well, and that's all I just came to do.
Thank you, Juan. Yasmin, followed by Ricardo Escobar.
Hi, my name's Yasmin. I live here in Maryvale. I'm a student and also very active in my community. I'm here sort of being a megaphone for my community's voice, that being communities of color, black and brown, LGBTQ, immigrant families, regular families, everyone. We all live here and we have a voice, and I'm here to tell you guys that. I'm here advocating for two demands, one being a legal defense fund for immigrants that are being pushed to ICE custody by the collaboration of MCSO and Phoenix PD. Those legal defense funds would be going to lawyers to help these immigrants that are being separated from their families. We know that it still happens. It's happening right now. It's been happening. We shouldn't be criminalized and then forced to not have anyone defend us and only have a criminal case lawyer defending us when we are immigrants. I'm also advocating for a compensation fund for the community and families that are being impacted by the police violence. We know that Phoenix is one of the deadliest, has one of the deadliest departments in the nation. We know that in 2016, our department killed one less than LA, and LA is 4 times our size, and that's really not fair. Our families and our people are being killed, and it's really traumatic, so we need to do something about that. It's not really, that's all I'm here to ask for, you guys.
Great job, thank you, Yasmin. Ricardo Escobar, followed by Adriana Gonzalez.
Good afternoon. My name is Ricardo Escobar. I'm a member of the organization CNL, and I'm also a student at North High School. And I'm here to demand more compensation funds towards victims of policing violence. Because not only are they left emotionally scarred, they're also left physically broken. And it's extremely necessary that they have resources such as counseling, therapy, and trauma support easily available to them. So that's all I'm here to say, and hopefully we can make it there. Thank you.
Good job, Ricardo. Adriana, followed by Ricardo Peleo Juenes.
Hi, my name is Adriana Gonzalez, and I'm here for 2 basic demands. One being a legal compensation fund for family separated by police and ICE collaboration. I'm also here to say that I don't think police and ICE should be collaborating because those are two separate enforcements and they should not be in the same facility, which is specifically 4th Ave Jail. And I'm also here to advocate for a compensation fund for people directly impacted by police violence, which would be like our Black and brown communities, because of the fact that like 18 people were killed by PD in 2016, and that was one less than LA, and that's double our size. I think it's ridiculous. So, yeah, that's
Ricardo Duenas. Okay. Christian Vega. Followed by Fabian Arredondo. Okay. Luella Godecki. Kate Tutaya. Welcome, Kate. Hey, Kate,
Yeah.
please remember to speak right into the mic. Thank you.
Does this work? Hi, my name is Kate Tutaya. I am here as a citizen of Phoenix, longtime citizen. I'm here with many of the people represented today to talk about the overwhelming amount of resources that the city of Phoenix pushes into the police in this city. Many people have given you the statistics of police killings, but I want to talk a little bit about, from your own pieces of literature, this page showing the giant bar of resources that's spent on police, and then it trickles down into a very, very short stack to things like the city auditor, public transport, functions with a star. I mention this because we can tell a lot about what people care about by what they spend their money on. Attachment A of the other pieces of literature that they've handed out show that the public safety pension is the second largest fund that the city of Phoenix spends its money on, which shows to me that Ed Zerker, for example, and the city council do their due diligence, doing right by the police union every year, increasing money for officers and the union in that regard. Meanwhile, you have many members from the community here who are asking you please invest in the things that prevent crime, that make us safe, that give us a safe community. And we're here begging you for it. And I really, really hope that you can hear it. The two demands that we've brought to you today is a little bit of the brilliance that can come from the people when we put our heads to something for 2 seconds. I think they're much better ideas than some of the things we've seen in these documents. And personally, instead of the 184 new police officers that is part of your 5-year plan to expand policing in Phoenix, you could, at this very moment, the 4 people here representing could decide that we're not going to spend the money on that, and instead we're going to put $500,000 onto helping people who need resources because their legal rights are being stripped away from them more and more and more every day at all levels of our government. And the Phoenix Sheriff's Department volunteers itself. They volunteer themselves to drop people at ICE's door. They don't have to do that, and yet they continue to do it. They continue to rip people away from their homes, to put them into ICE custody, and it's sometimes for the smallest of infractions. So if you're going to sit back and you're going to allow the government to do this to us, then I think you also have a responsibility to create a fund that protects us in those situations.
He says Gil, followed by Joe Garcia.
Hello everyone, my name is Isis Heath. I'm a first-generation American and a native to Arizona. And I preface that because of the fact that I just want to reiterate much of what my community members have already voiced. That I have 2 demands. One, that we make a compensation fund for those impacted in our community from trauma and violence of the police department. And the second being a legal defense fund from our police department as they push us away from our families and into detention centers. And even in that regard, if you look to our budget, like was previously being stated, the Phoenix Police Department has about twice as much funding as even its second closest department, which is our fire department. And it has not made us any safer. Even if you look further into the line, we're looking for another $500,000 or so towards analysis as to why this happens. And I would argue this is because of the fact that we're having a conversation around this issue, specifically in regards to identifying trigger pullers as opposed to individuals. And these individuals are people that bring wealth into our families, cities, state, and every individual that goes into prison is reducing what we can do for our entirety as a community. And I would just argue the same points and basically reiterate the fact that our community is asking for better funds for us through education, through homeless interventions, mental health benefits. And if we can actually just change the conversation, I think that would go significantly further than talking to ourselves of whether or not we need to speak about who gets better funding, police or fire. That's not a conversation that anyone ever wants to have. So we should talk about it in terms of like who should we help the most. And at the end of the day, it is the most impacted, and that's really our minority groups of all sectors.
Yes.
Joe Garcia, followed by Dr. Maldonado.
Good evening, council members, City Manager Ed Zucker, and my fellow citizens. I'd like to thank you guys all for standing up and speaking out on your concerns. Myself, I've been a Phoenix native for over 60 years, west side of Maryvale over 30. My problem is the aging infrastructure that's coming around here. The streets are terrible. I don't know if you just come right here by Indian School Road. There's potholes left and right. They fix them occasionally with a little patch and it keeps on going. I know that the water department is not funded in the general fund, but I mean water leaks everywhere. My neighborhood alone, there was 10 just recently, and Sunday morning, my neighbor knocked on my door, water was spouting out in my front yard. Thank goodness it was the city's, because I would have had to pay that bill, and I'm like, my wife was really freaking out. But what I'm saying here is that I've been here a long time, and Maryvale used to be like a affluent area. I mean, I lived a little bit further south, and Maryvale was way up there. And now, it seems like all the other areas are getting the attention. Don't forget about us. We're here, we're taxpayers, we care a lot about the community, we're involved, and I just want to get your attention on that. I mean, we all have, different areas that we think that need to be funded. Take care of our roads, this is where we live. We have to live here every day. Just take care of us and don't forget about us. Thank you much.
Thank you for your service. Dr. Maldonado, followed by Vidiana Hernandez.
Hi, thank you for the opportunity to speak with you. My name is Dr. Maldonado. I am the CEO of Ibarra Maldonado Law Group and also the Institute for Border Crit Theory. And I'm here supporting the Center for Neighborhood Leadership. As you have heard, we are in opposition of spending more money on policing. And one of the main reasons why I'm here is because I am concerned about racial profiling. I previously served on the board for the Community Advisory Board in the racial profiling lawsuit Melendez versus Arpaio. So I saw firsthand the damage that racial profiling and policing can cause to our communities. And when I was in that board, a lot of the complaints that we received were actually from the Phoenix Police. But we weren't able to do anything about it because that was not our domain. And so I am concerned about what is happening. Our communities are increasingly being attacked and victimized. And just recently I'm doing a research project interviewing immigrant children here living in Arizona. And I can tell you firsthand that there is a lot of trauma in this community. And so I think that if we're going to have a conversation about policing, we need to have a conversation about how we're going to address the damage that is happening. There was a woman here that was asking about data and all of that stuff. And so what are we doing? What is the Phoenix Police, the City of Phoenix doing to assess whether policing is working right now? As we have heard, it's not. There's lots of violence, and there's a lot of damage that is happening to particularly immigrant families and people of color. So I think that we really need to step back and assess and look at where we're investing our money. Thank you.
Vidi Hernandez, followed by Alexander Rodriguez.
Hello everyone, my name is Viridiana Hernandez. I am the director at Center for Neighborhood Leadership. I have lived in Maryvale for the past 26 years, a community that is highly criminalized, racially profiled, and therefore have some of the highest incarceration rates. Not because, as previously mentioned, we are criminals, but because we continue to lack the investment from the city to do the things that actually make us safe, right? To the things that are impacting our community. Economic security, and the reason we're talking about homelessness, and then the further criminalization of homelessness, and why we need so many centers, because people are being detained for being homeless, versus the funds going to support, and for that not to happen, we're continuing to spend crazy amounts of money in the policing of our people, right? Instead of getting money to the resources that actually make our community safer, we're getting money to a department that continues to separate and deport families. We're getting money to a department that is one of the deadliest police departments in the nation. We're continuing to put money in pain and suffering of people in Maryvale. So we're here demanding many things. The investment in our community, but two specific things that have been talked about today is to take on responsibility as a city for the separation of our families through your collaboration with ICE and through your collaboration with MCSO. Phoenix Police Department has the highest deportation rates when you look at how you work. We need the city of Phoenix to create a legal defense fund for the people that are being pushed into ICE custody because of a Phoenix PD arrest. We also need a compensation fund for the communities that are impacted by police violence, for the trauma, the counseling that is needed, the therapy when violence is inflicted, and police get to walk away and go home, and therefore, and you leave a community destroyed, in pain, and forever marked. And we deserve better. We deserve true investment. So I want to ask everyone that if you think that we deserve we deserve more as Maryvale, we deserve more as people, that we deserve investment in our health and our wellness, please stand up.
Alexander Rodriguez, followed by Kai Cervantes.
My name is Alex Rodriguez, and I'm here as a student and a member of this community. Listen closely, because I know some of you here are here to push your agendas, to go back to your offices to say, I listened to their opinions about our budgets. When we know too well that you haven't, since Phoenix Police Department has been in commission. You need to know that when youth of this community comes to budget hearings, you're really not doing your job. So let's use those things on the sides of your head, and let's use those things on the side of your head and listen to these demands and damning questions. Why does the Phoenix Police Department receive $510,000 of the city budget, and yet schools in my community don't have basic school materials to create a simple project? What are you doing about Phoenix PD being one of the deadliest police departments in the nation? In 2016, they killed 18 people, one less than LA, which, may I mention, is 4 times the size than, which is 4 times our size. Where's the accountability for the police violence being inflicted in our communities? We as a community demand a compensation fund for all the trauma due to gun violence. We demand a legal defense fund that's for immigrants pushed to ICE custody by Phoenix Police Department. Please do your job. Please.
Kai Cervantes, followed by Victoria Yaquez.
Hi, my name is Key, and I'm a student activist. And a lot of people are impacted daily by police and ICE. Presence in 4th Avenue Jail. Many people are pushed into ICE custody by police. I demand a legal defense fund be created to support people impacted by this collaboration. Many people have also been impacted by police violence.
We have too many police killings that have greatly impacted our communities. In 2016, they killed 18 people, one less than LA, which is a city 4 times our size. Our police have not been here to serve and protect. I also demand a compensation fund for communities directly impacted by police violence. I also demand that more resources such as counseling and therapy be easily available for these victims' families.
Victoria Yaquez, followed by Hernan Acosta.
Good evening, and thank you for listening to us as far as what's going on with the budgets and what we need. I am a community leader, and I am also a volunteer. I have been listening to everybody's comments here, and one of the things that I recommend is that you attend the Citizen Police Academy that strictly is for residents, that you get to learn about the men and women that protect us. I believe that we still do need more police officers. The training that they receive is not all bad. They're there, they protect us, and they have to go home, and in some cases they don't go home. There are situations that arise that we don't know about. We do not know the whole story on some of these killings that go on. One of the other things, as a neighborhood, I think we do still need, we need more fire prevention inspectors, because there are a lot of homes that are going through and they should, that are not safe. That's where we get a lot of fires. Going into the fire aspect, we do need more firefighters, because the time delays that are there, they have not had as far as increases in like some of the other budgets. Regarding the homeless situation, I do realize that a lot of money is going for the Phoenix Cares, and I have heard some of the great things that are going on, but I agree, Laura, regarding the Maricopa County of Governments and Maricopa County, they do need to get more involved as far as providing for us here in the city. They are our county. For now, the code compliance, the neighborhoods are going down strictly because we have not had the funding that's helping us in our communities. But again, I believe that we do need more officers. And again, I recommend that if you'd like, I'm a volunteer for the Citizen Police Academy. I've seen some of the stories that these officers go through, and I believe that you should all, before you say something about them, you should go to this academy. Thank you.
Thank you. Hernan Acosta, followed by Rosa Pastrana.
Hello everyone, thank you for all coming here. Isn't it such a bad stigma that the police officer career isn't really wanted anymore? They used to be seen as people who were valued and appreciated, people to look up towards and be something like that one day. Unfortunately, that's not the case in Phoenix anymore. Growing up as a Hispanic with parents both from Mexico, I think it's really interesting to note that my parents left Mexico because the police was bad. And now we come here and they bring us with that same mindset. The police is not good. I believe that the reason why is because they don't get the proper training. They get 5 months. I just checked on the website. It says 5 to 3 months to get trained. Like, it takes longer to be a hair salonist. What kind of mediocrity is that? They're not only sent to protect. They're not only sent to do the basic things that police officers do, like navigate traffic. They're there to help, like, they're there to quarantine situations. They're there to make crimes better, to make people feel more comfortable. They're on-the-spot counselors, and all they do is just clock in and clock out. Emotions don't clock in and clock out for all the victims in crime scenes. what else doesn't happen is that these people are victimized. They are hurt, they're damaged by the police brutality or the actual crime. I really advocate for compensation funding for the communities impacted by police violence. This is either police violence or criminal, just something that happened to them. Either way, we need trauma support, we need counseling, we need therapy. People who have PTSD, and this isn't just people, including officers. Unfortunately, all the officers don't get the proper training. They're on-the-spot counselors who are expected to handle emotional people on the spot. In 5 months, like that's not even what happens. Like they learn so much in such a short period of time. I wish that they'd learn more. Also, we need legal defense funding for immigrants who are pushed by ICE in partnership with the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. You know what's interesting? Crime rate increases based on if you have both of your parents or if you have one parent. Oftentimes, at least the parent gets deported. With that being said, what if that child did have both parents? What if that child did have that mentorship that he needed from his dad or his mom or his brother or his sister to show them the ways of what to and what to not be? Maybe we need to invest more in our community. That way, once we invest in our community, we can have better role models to eventually be police officers who can support their youth, the minority, because that's who's suffering the most, the minority community. We need to invest more in us, and I think that the city council members would benefit from it greatly.
Thank you, sir. Rosa Pastrana, followed by Jennifer Hernandez.
And I believe this is Pastrana, you can speak Spanish? Yep.
Antes que todo, quiero darle las gracias a los bomberos, que ahorita hay muy pocos policías y en cada emergencia que hay, los primeros que han llegado son ellos. Y han esperado hasta 1 hora para que pueda llegar un oficial a tomar ¿cómo se dice? El récord o lo que se vaya a hacer, ¿no?
First of all, I would like to thank all the firefighters because oftentimes there are not enough police officers. And so the first responders are the firefighters who are there, and they stay there for about an hour, sometimes waiting for the police to get there so that they can do the report or whatever it is that they do.
Sí, me ha tocado que están haciendo doble trabajo últimamente porque hay más accidentes en las calles. No sé si se han fijado que hay mucho accidente. No sé por qué se ha triplicado eso, pero sí faltan muchos policías porque los bomberos están trabajando lo doble de lo que están haciendo ahora. So, el bombero que vino ahorita tiene mucha razón de lo que ellos necesitan, ¿no?
So the firefighters are now doing double duty because I don't know if you've noticed, but the incidents in car accidents has tripled lately, and the firefighters are responding and they're doing more than they were originally assigned to do, and there is not enough police officers around to do this.
Bueno, pasando a otro tema, Laura Pastor, cada año vengo ahora porque como Blood Wash sé muchas cosas que pasan en la comunidad. Trato de no meterme mucho en la política ni en lo que otros grupos están pidiendo, trato de respetar, porque lo que yo hago por 7 años ha sido absolutamente gratis. Patrullar en las madrugadas, limpiar mi área fuera de crimen y tratar de ayudar a la comunidad trayéndoles información y las reuniones que ellos necesiten, más que nada la educación.
And changing the subject, Laura, I have been participating now for 7 years. I've been coming here every year. And generally, I do not like to get involved in politics, but I have been doing what I've been doing without receiving any compensation for it. I do it as a volunteer. I volunteer to patrol.
PNP Neighbor Patrol y Blood Wash.
For the Block Watch and the patrol, the neighborhood patrol.
Bueno. Entonces, el año pasado yo estuve aquí. Espero que este año también no me tiren a loca. Perdón la palabra. Pero necesitamos otro centro comunitario.
And last year I was here, and I hope that this year I'm not viewed as a crazy person again, but we do need another community center though.
Como dijo aquí el muchacho, necesitamos, porque lo que es el que está en Golden Gate no es centro comunitario. Ese es un dueño que ahora pide para que podamos rentar ahí. Nosotros no tenemos centro comunitario en el Distrito 4.
So as the young man said earlier, the community center at Golden Gate is not really a community center. It is a homeowner who now requests help to be able to provide assistance to us.
Ahora, ¿por qué voy a eso? He visto más crimen, más homeless, lo que es la 43 Avenida y la McDowell. 51 Avenida, donde están los hoteles, el freeway, comida rápida, es donde siempre ha habido prostitución, y eso es lo que yo estoy enfocada con el blood wash, y muchos de ustedes lo saben.
And the reason why I bring this up is because through my involvement with Block Watch, I have been able to see and patrol through 43rd and McDowell, and also the area of 51st Avenue where all the hotels are by the interstate. And there's a lot of prostitution in that zone.
Drugs and everything. So, entonces, si no tenemos un centro comunitario, los muchachos no tienen dónde ir a pasar algo de recreación, dónde entretener su tiempo después de escuela. Desafortunadamente, el distrito que está en esas áreas, nunca, la mayoría de ellos no prestan las escuelas para que las usen para después de la tarde, para que vayan a jugar fútbol los niños. No quieren, ni a mí como Blood Wash, tenía que sacar yo un permiso hace años con la Escuela Pueblo del Sol para que me dieran chance de hacer una reunión. A mí nunca me dieron soporte, como mucha gente piensa que yo tuve las puertas abiertas. No, yo le he batallado para hacer Blood Wash por 7 años.
So I mentioned this because we don't have a community center where our youth can go after school, so the schools are not even open to them to go there and play football, soccer, whatever it might be. And a lot of people might think that I've had it easy along the way. Through these 7 years, I've had to struggle because at
Pueblo del Sol.
Through Pueblo del Sol, I had to struggle because I had to request a special permit. I was not allowed to have meetings there or to go there, and so I have struggled a lot through these 7 years.
Por esas son las razones que yo hacía mis reuniones o hago mis reuniones en diferentes lugares, en iglesias de afroamericanos, que es mi área, que eran los apartamentos, pero gracias a eso se hizo popular el Aspen Blood Wash.
And that's the reason why I've had to change locations for the meetings for my block watch. Oftentimes it is at African American churches, and it has been at different locations, and that's probably why it has worked.
Y bueno, yo no hice esto del blood wash por querer quedar bien con nadie, simplemente estar fuera de crimen, y doy mi tiempo a quien yo quiero dárselo, y eso es lo que yo me enfoco, en cuidar mi familia y mis cosas y mi área. Ya por último, les digo del centro comunitario, porque yo voy a abrir mi negocio de lucha libre en junio. Ya tengo todo listo, mi cuenta de IRS y todo listo, ¿ok? Pero no tengo un lugar donde hacerlo. Y para hacerlo en un lugar te piden aseguranza, que obvio que la tengo que comprar, pero no hay un centro comunitario donde los muchachos o los niños puedan agarrar unas clases de entrenamiento de lucha libre. Entonces, el año pasado yo vine a esto y no hicieron caso tampoco con el centro comunitario. Si hubiera eso, estaríamos más fuera de crimen y trabajaríamos mucho más para que nosotros, los de las escuelas, pudiéramos trabajar juntos para darle seminarios de lucha libre y de defensa personal.
Okay, and what I've been doing, I do it because I spend my energy and resources in the things that I'm interested in. And I want to mention that I will be opening my own business, which has been already set up. I already have my IRS account set. But the problem is that there is no place for us, and it is going to be wrestling. So there is no, obviously when there is the requirement to rent a place to carry out these activities, there has to be an insurance which costs money, and there is no community center available for the young people to come and receive training or to get classes, and so that way we can decrease crime and we can increase the way we work with our communities, and we are able to increase our safety.
Y muchas gracias. Espero que no me tiren a loca otro año más, por favor.
And thank you so much, and I hope that you don't, my words don't go on deaf ears for another year.
Thank you. Jennifer Hernandez, followed by Martin Perez.
Hello, everyone. So I'm here today standing as a brown, queer, single mother and the daughter of undocumented parents to tell you that police should not be a priority in the budget, that police should not have the biggest percentage on this chart, and to stop sending police to criminalize us at schools and on our streets. And by that, I mean sending SROs to our schools and sending them to our streets to criminalize our paletero men and our elotero men and our homeless people. So I'm here to demand a compensation fund for the communities impacted by police violence, for resources to go to counseling, trauma support, and therapy needed after incidents of police violence, because I don't want my brilliant, beautiful 3-year-old daughter to grow up in a Phoenix where racist police kill people who look just like her. And like I said, as a daughter of undocumented parents, I demand for the city of Phoenix to create a legal defense fund for immigrants pushed to ICE custody by Phoenix PD, because I don't want to wake up one day and fear not to see my parents ever again. Thank you.
Thank you. Martin Perez, followed by Marissa Hamilton.
Buenas noches. Mi nombre es Martín Pérez. Vivo en la comunidad de Maryvale y pido su apoyo.
Good evening, my name is Martin Perez. I live in the community of Maryvale, and I'm here to request your support.
Para que la ciudad de Phoenix cree un fondo de defensa legal para los inmigrantes que han sido detenidos por ICE.
I demand that the city of Phoenix creates a legal fund for the immigrants that have been taken to ICE by the police.
Por arresto del departamento de Phoenix.
Through their arrest of the Department of Phoenix.
Asimismo, un fondo de compensación para las comunidades afectadas.
And also a compensation fund for the communities that have been affected.
Por la violencia policial, para que los recursos se destinen a asesoramiento.
Through police violence, so that the resources can be destined to so that the funds can be destined to to counseling.
Soporte de trauma, terapia necesaria después de incidentes de violencia policial.
Therapy and for support after being the victims of police violence.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Marissa Hamilton, followed by Martha Felix.
Thank you. My name is Marissa Hamilton. I'm here to talk about a few different issues. One, we have a major budget crisis looming over our heads, especially when it comes to the pension. We have a $4.4 billion in pension debt of unfunded liability. And that's going to be passed on to my generation and the generations after me. And I find that to be completely unacceptable. Our city manager makes over $300,000 a year, $314,000 and change, and comes unprepared to meetings with his team oftentimes when asked for information by the city council. Our VP of the United States only makes $243,000 a year, but our city manager makes over $300,000 a year. If we have an issue with our budget, I think we found where it is. We spent $10 million on a study on garbage. We spent $17,500 on membership for city staff. We spent $500,000 on waste this year. We're in a process, or maybe have already completed it, of a $13.5 million giveaway to ASU. And in addition to that, we want to expand the light rail when we have businesses that have asked us not to because they don't want to be shut down. If you go to Mesa, you see business after business after business after business that has gone out of business because of the light rail expansion. We don't need that to happen anymore in Phoenix. Meanwhile, when you drive around, especially this neighborhood and around the rest of the city, how many potholes do we have? How many sidewalks do we have that haven't been taken care of? The city approved to have a tax increase for transportation, and yet our roads have gotten worse through that process. As far as it coming from police, I agree that we need special training for the police, especially as we see what's happening around the country. We need to have our police that know the difference between a gun and a cell phone. We have a crisis when it comes to Arizona DCS taking children without warrants and court orders that are not from parents that are abusing or neglecting their children. We need police to be trained to know when it's legally okay to take children and when it's not. And we have police that are reporting back to DCS when moms are fleeing domestic violence or have been raped and reporting it to DCS so that their kids can be taken by the government as retaliation for what's happened to them. And finally, the last thing I want to say is please consolidate the elections. We have a budget crisis and we should be doing those elections on even years in August and November like the rest of our elections. We don't need to waste money on extra elections for the city. Thank you so much for your time.
Marta Felix. Okay, that is. Yeah, Vidi? So. Yeah, okay. So this is the last group or the last speaker for the group. Okay. In Spanish?
Hola, buenas tardes a todos. Mi nombre es Berta Rita.
Good evening to everyone. My name is Berta Rita.
Yo soy organizadora de padres de familia aquí en mi comunidad.
I am an organizer for parents here in my community.
¿Verdad? Como dijeron ustedes, ¿verdad? ¿De quién es el dinero?
As you said before, whose money is this?
El dinero es de nosotros, ¿verdad?
The money is ours.
También tenemos derecho a pedir.
And I believe that we also have the right to make requests.
¿Verdad? Y ese es nuestro derecho y ahora como comunidad que estoy organizando, creo que nunca había estado aquí en un presupuesto, es mi primera vez, yo pensé que no tenía ese derecho, pero ahora que sé que tengo ese derecho, entonces por eso estoy aquí.
And that is our right. And as now as I'm organizing with our community, I am here now that I know that. And this is my first community meeting because before I did not know that I had that right, but now that I do, I am here.
Porque también como personas que habemos en nuestra comunidad indocumentadas, también nosotros pagamos impuestos, ¿verdad? Cuando vamos a una tienda no nos preguntan, ¿eres indocumentado? No te vamos a cobrar impuestos.
Because as undocumented people, we still pay taxes. And when we go to a store, they don't ask us, are you documented or undocumented? And if you're undocumented, then you don't have to pay taxes.
Igual, pagamos luz, pagamos todos los servicios.
And we pay for everything just the same, whether it be services, electricity, whatever it might be.
Y yo estoy también de acuerdo en que no nos hace falta más policía, ni mucho menos en esta área de Maryvale.
And I also agree that we do not need more police officers, mainly in this area of Maryvale.
Ya que nuestras familias han estado siendo afectadas por la policía y han estado siendo separan a familias y nuestros hijos en las escuelas están en miedo todo el tiempo pensando que mamá o papá no van a llegar a recogerlos.
And we don't need them in our community. We don't need them because they're separating our families, and our children in school are in fear of not knowing whether their mother or their father will be able to pick them up from school.
Por eso yo vengo a exigir con mi comunidad, con padres de familias, que por favor que la ciudad de Phoenix cree el fondo de defensa legal para personas inmigrantes que paran en ICE por culpa del departamento de policía, ¿verdad?
And that's why I'm here with the parents and this organization demanding that a legal representation fund be created for the families and the people that end up in ICE custody due to the police's fault.
Y un fondo de compensación para las familias que son afectadas por la violencia policíaca, ya que muchas veces los policías cometen sus crímenes también y no hay castigo para ellos y la familia se queda con un gran problema, llenos de mucho dolor, miedo, y por eso también quiero exigir estas dos demandas.
And I'm also here demanding that fund be created for the assistance for the victims of police violence, because these people are left deeply affected with fear and trauma, and that is why I'm demanding that this fund be created as well.
Y espero que no nos ignoren como comunidad, ya que también tenemos voz, porque es nuestro dinero y tenemos derecho a eso, a exigir. Hay 100 cartitas que nuestra gente llenó pidiendo también estas demandas.
And I hope that we are not ignored and that we are heard as a community, because it is our money as well and we have the right to make demands. And there have been 100 notes that were filled out by the members of our community making these demands.
Esperamos ser escuchados.
And we hope that we were heard.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
Bueno, como dijo la persona por ahí, que no estamos muy involucrados con la policía.
As a person previously said, that we're not too involved with the police.
Ya que ellos también llevan traumas a su casa cuando pasa algo que no sabemos acerca de ellos.
Because they also are traumatized when they go home, when something
Lo
does
que yo quiero
happen.
decir es, a llegar al fondo, es los pocos policías que tienen, o muchos, como no sé qué tanto exactamente
What
sean
I
en
want
las
to
áreas.
say is that at the end of the day, I don't know exactly how many police there are in each area.
Podrían darles una reevaluación a todos ellos, un reentrenamiento y enseñarles. Lo que quiero llegar es que en un meeting que tuvimos con algunos policías,
And they could be reevaluated and retrained and to be taught again, because the point that I want to get to is that we had a meeting with some police members.
el mismo policía, nosotros le preguntamos por qué cuando una persona está frente de ellos y tiene una navaja o tiene algo, está lejos, ¿por qué dispararles a matar y no poderles disparar a un pie, a un brazo, a herirlo, neutralizarlo?
And we asked the police officer, why, if there's somebody that's not close by, that's kind of far, who has a knife, a pocket knife, why not shoot to an arm or a leg just to stop them, not to kill them?
Lo que él preguntó, lo que él dijo, nosotros no nos preparan para herirlos, no, nosotros nos preparan para matarlos.
And what he said was that they were not prepared or they were not trained to just hurt them, they were
Esas
trained
fueron
to
sus propias
kill.
palabras de él. Entonces quiere decir que cuando viene a alguien, si lo pueden neutralizar, ellos no lo van a hacer, ellos tiran directamente a matarlo. Eso es lo que nosotros estamos peleando, que no necesitamos más policías de esa forma. Y los pocos que tienen, que les dan el entrenamiento que deben de tener.
And that's what I am arguing, that they are not trained to neutralize, they're trained to kill.
Para matar, no para herir o neutralizar. Que se les dé un reentrenamiento.
So they should be retrained and that should be relooked at.
Sí, se puede hacer eso, porque necesitan enseñarlos a neutralizar a una persona, no matarla.
Because they have to be taught to neutralize a person, not to kill that person.
Yo entiendo cuando el otro tiene una arma de fuego, quizás pero con una piedra, una navaja, un palo.
I can understand when the other person has a firearm, but when that person only has maybe a knife or a stone or a stick, they should be neutralized only.
Ya, por eso la comunidad no quiere más policías así.
That's why our community does not want any more police officers like that. Thank you.
Muy buenas tardes, yo soy padre de familia y quisiera hacer una observación, si ustedes quizás ya lo notaron, que tenemos muchos jóvenes que son el futuro de este país.
Good evening. I am also a mother, and I want to make an observation. If you haven't noticed already, we have a great number of young people here, and they are the future of our nation.
Quisiera que todos tomen en cuenta todas las peticiones que todos ellos han hecho y que ellos mismos ayuden a otros muchachos a involucrarse dentro de la comunidad para prevenir el crimen.
And I would like you to take into account everything that they have said and demanded so that they may be able to help other young people to get involved in their community.
Y es todo lo que quiero decir. Estoy de acuerdo con las demandas que estamos poniendo. Espero que se nos tomen en cuenta porque también hay muchos muchachos que lo están necesitando.
And that's all I want to say, and I hope their demands are taken into account because there are many young people who need them. So thank you.
Adriana Garcia.
It's like super cold in here. Good evening, everybody. Well, hi, everybody. Good to see you all tonight. Thank you, everybody else, for being here. I'm a resident of District 4, and I really wanted to come and speak because I was looking at the Phoenix budget the other night for fun, you know. And there are some things in here that I would really like to highlight that I think are good things that our city is doing. And I think that everybody else is asking here that we invest in more things like Parks and Rec, which I saw you put in $256,000 in there to do more. Our libraries, you're opening them up for longer, right? There's the CARES program for homelessness. I just want to see more of that as a resident of Phoenix. I just want to see more investment in different ways that we can address public safety that is not the police department. I have gone through the Citizens Police Academy. I have sat with a lot of police officers, and through the block watches, I've done all of that. And I know that I still live in fear, and that a lot of our community still lives in fear. And I've been coming to these meetings for a very long time, to the same meeting every year. And I still feel like we don't have a response to address those fears, right? Berta said it earlier, we're all taxpayers, undocumented or not, and our needs aren't addressed at all throughout the years. We've been coming here, we've been talking, we came here again tonight. I want to know when we're going to receive a response to this conversation about how we start redefining public safety and what that means for us in this community. Because I feel like we've never gotten it. And so I really wanted to address that and also support the legal defense fund that's been asked for here tonight. Thank you.
That concludes the rest of the cards. Thank you so much. I am going to give the microphone to my colleagues for any final thoughts. For those who couldn't make it, please share with your neighbors, your friends. It's not too late. Send your comments in via email, a phone call. And if you go to the phoenix.gov website, there are other options that you can find. Eventually, we do have to pass a budget, so we want to get as much of this input as possible. And again, thank you for advocating not just on behalf of you, your home, your neighborhood, but everyone I felt advocated on behalf of someone else. They advocated on behalf of someone else, someone who couldn't be here. So thank you so much for that. I'll go ahead and give the microphone now to Councilwoman Laura Pastor.
Thank you very much for being here and giving me your recommendations and thoughts regarding the budget. Some of you will know this, the youth. I've been pushing since last year participatory budgeting at the city. I'm asking you guys to start pushing that. I think we are better off in the long run in participating in participatory budgeting and really saying, this is the amount of dollars that we have, where would you like to see it go, versus us coming with the Phoenix budget and kind of working backwards. I'd rather work together to get to where the happy medium or the compromise is beforehand, and then come out again to the budget hearing to the general public of everybody's invited to participate, but then a bigger whole as to this is what came up with the community. Have you guys, I know some of the kids at Phoenix Union have been participating in this. So how many of you been doing this at the schools? None of you? Well, at Phoenix Union in the schools, we've expanded, and what it does is it talks about their area and what they like to see in their area and how many dollars they would like to go there. And they kind of rank, and it goes through a whole process. So I have been pushing that. I've had somebody, Stanford Prescott, come in and speak about it to the city manager and our budget office as to this is what it does, this is how it empowers the community, and this is how we all participate in the budget. So any thoughts for the future, you're more than welcome to contact me. At the end of the day, what I hear throughout all of this budget is really safety. It's about safety of our neighborhoods and what does that look like for each different neighborhood. Parks that participates, Parks and Recreation participates in our safety. Libraries participate in our safety. Community centers participate in our safety. And it's basically all the way around, I look at it as safety of our neighborhoods and vibrancy of our neighborhoods. A woman in here talked about, she just left, but she talked about an important item that will be on the agenda next week. It's Consolidated Elections. I'm highly recommending you guys to inquire and learn about Consolidated Elections. There's a whole movement to consolidate our city elections on the ballot, going from odd year to even year, which means that our election will be part of the governor's election or the president's election, and it really kind of takes away our local control and participation. What it does is put it on a partisan ballot. And a partisan ballot, as you know, the city council is nonpartisan. So I think it's wise, and I highly encourage you, and may I suggest that you look into that, because there's a bigger agenda regarding consolidated elections. The meeting is next week, and I think before you attend the meeting, to first get some information and then understand what's going to be voted on. Really appreciate that you're out here participating and being engaged, and if you need any information, you can call my office, 602-262-7447.
Thank you. And Councilman Michael Nowakowski.
First of all, I just want to thank you all for being here. I've been on the council for 10 years. My first budget hearing, we never had a bilingual section like this. So the following year, I asked the city manager, and the city manager said, absolutely, Councilman. So I'm very glad to see that more and more Spanish speakers are coming out, because that's what we need, more and more participation. Hace 10 años que tengo trabajando como concejal de la ciudad de Phoenix, representándonos, ¿no? El primer junta que tuve del budget era todo en inglés. Entonces le dije al manejador de la ciudad en ese tiempo si podemos tener algo en español. Dijo que sí. Y me da mucho, me siento orgulloso a mirar tanta gente aquí hablando en español, hablando de sus derechos, right? And saying that is that I believe that there's a problem. And we're hearing a problem, we need to fix that problem. And the way we fix the problem is by bringing people around the table and starting a conversation. So we need to get our police officers. We need to get some of the community members that are coming up with some suggestions, and let's start having a conversation and finding some common ground, right? So yo creo que necesitamos hacer es que estoy escuchando que hay una necesidad, que hay problemas entre la policía, entre la comunidad, y que debemos hacer es a formar un comité donde podemos sentar atrás de una mesa y a comenzar a hacer pláticas, ¿no? Y a buscar modos para acabar todos estos problemas que está pasando, ¿no? I was involved with the whole Joe Arpaio movement and all that, and I know that a lot of times we were shut out. And the city of Phoenix doesn't want to shut out anyone. I believe we need to come together and have that conversation. And you know, the fund and stuff like that, that might be the solution. There might be other solutions out there, but we need to really sit down and have time to really have that type of conversation. Because you have victims that need help. And if there's somehow, some way that we can help those victims out, let's do that. And I believe that all my colleagues will try to find that solution and making it right. Creo que así hablando, podemos buscar los diferentes modos. Hablaron ahorita que un fondo para ayudar a esas víctimas de la policía y cosas así, pero creo que hay cosas más que podemos hacer también. Pero formando ese comité, teniendo esa práctica, yo creo que todos mis colegas queremos buscar un modo para hablar y a buscar qué podemos trabajar como la ciudad de Phoenix hacerlo mejor, ¿no? Y creo que eso es la cosa más importante, trabajando juntos para hacer una futuro mejor para todos estos jóvenes que están aquí. The bottom line is working together to find out solutions for the betterment of you all, you young people that are here today. And that's what my commitment is. I'm the chair of public safety. I know that Laura sits on there also. And maybe we could create a committee or so to start that conversation that I'm going to tell you, as the chair of public safety, there's a need to have police officers. And I'm going to continue advocating that we need police officers. But at the same time, hearing from the community, there's a need to come out with some different types of training and services that we need to provide for the community. So I agree with both. So that's what I like to sit around the table and have that conversation to figure it out. Soy cabezado de una comité de policías y los bomberos de la ciudad de Phoenix. Y yo creo que necesitamos más policías. Pero también creo que necesitamos atenderlos mejor, que necesitamos buscar modos para trabajar juntos con la comunidad. Y creo que ese comité que vamos a formar, comenzamos esa plática, ¿no? Y creo que es algo muy importante para la ciudad de Phoenix y para todos nosotros. So, que Dios te bendiga, gracias por estar aquí con nosotros. Y vamos a ver qué podemos hacer para el futuro, ¿no? You know, I just want to thank you all, God bless you all, and we're going to see what we can do to make this all better for the future of Phoenix, right? Thank you. I guess that's all. Al concepto de fantasma.